You have to really know yourself to know what's going to keep you going.
Assuming that a lot of times is unnecessary. Life changes when you don't have no car no more.
Right. The longer you can hold out and find the right job, the better the next job is going to be. You're not going to survive by suppressing your life.
I'm not a guru, I'm a Doru because I actually do this business. Hey guys, this is Nasa, aka the Real Estate Doru. I'm not a guru, I'm a Doru because I actually do this business. I'm back again with Jonathan Thomas. And Jonathan, welcome back, man.
Hey, appreciate it, my friend. It's been fun.
All right, so you are a financial expert and you have all this YouTube information and all that. I'm going to do that on the screen right there. Let me say this, man. I got a question, right? As a financial expert, financial literacy expert, let's say I'm in a situation, I'm at a job, making okay money, making okay, I can live and I have a little bit to save. So should I save money or should I pay off debt? What should be my first thing that I do?
Well, this comes up so often, and this question I think is where the personal starts to come out in personal finance. So everyone's habits and what you can take is going to be a little bit different. So for me, when I paid off my debt, I had like negligible savings. Like I had not too much of anything, you know what I mean? Maybe $1,000, maybe $1,500. But the only reason why I did it was because in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm used to not having no money anyway. So it didn't really make, like, why do I need to hurry up and save all this money now? Just pay off the debt. Like I've survived. But everyone is a little bit different. If you're female or you have kids, especially if you have kids, I would definitely say you need probably at least $5,000 in the bank before you start thinking about paying off debt, because with those kids, that lifestyle, it costs too much. The second thing I would say is you have to really know yourself to know what's going to keep you going. So if you give yourself, like I said, $2,000, $3,000 in savings, and then you switch up and say, hey, I'm gonna just start paying everything I can towards the debt, will you keep going? That's the ultimate question that I would tell you to know yourself, or look at your personal. So don't look at your friends, don't look at what them to say, hey, I feel comfortable with $2,000, $3,000, or maybe $10,000, whatever your level of comfort in. Maybe you need 6 months of savings, and then you can say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and start paying off my debt because now I think I'm in a little bit more stable place. That's okay. It's just the point of, number one, you need to build it into your process. And then when you do start to pay off debt, you need, if it's credit cards, I always tell people, make sure you call the credit card companies first, because a lot of these credit card companies, just like you learned over the past year, they can do a lot more to assist you in paying off debt. They can change the interest rate. You can tell them, hey, I'm on hardship. You can tell them, hey, can I get a refund of interest for a few months? Can I get the interest rate lower?
If you call your credit card company and say, hey, look, I'm having hardship, does that affect your credit? Does your credit score go down?
You won't see an impact to the credit. So the reason why I say the hardship in the language, and to be quite honest, when you call a credit card company or any bank, what you're trying to tell them is, hey, you want to tell them your goal. Hey, I'm trying to get this thing paid off. They want you to pay off the debt so you can borrow more, so they can give you more. So if you've been like paying the minimal or whatever, and maybe your limits towards, saying the high, like you're almost to the limit, they're gonna want to hear that you're trying to pay off debt. So they're gonna be excited first that you said this. Second, you want to say, hey, what programs do you guys offer that can help me kind of speed up this process? And that's why I said every bank and credit union and person who gives you a credit card isn't the same. Some might lower the interest rate. Some might put you on a hardship. My wife personally, she had American Express. And they lowered her interest rate to about 2.9. She paid all her credit card off in that first year. Wow. She was making those same payments, but they were going a lot further because she was piling into that thing. But she only needed a year. They locked the card down. She couldn't use the card that whole year. But in her mind, she's like, I can't use it no way. So it didn't matter. And then after that, she can use it. She don't use it obviously in the same fashion, but she got out of debt. And obviously we all know the interest piece is what keeps us from paying off debt. So if you can go from a 22 to a 2 or a 22 to a 4 very quickly just by a phone call, that can help you speed up the efficiency of those dollars, not just throwing money at the debt. The second piece is you want to look at, and this is probably more in your sector, you want to look at what is the best way to pay it off. Not just snowball or avalanche, but I even tell people, look at how much you're paying in payments. If you have a payment that's $300-400, but you maybe can get that payment, that whole debt paid off in the next year, versus another debt that might take you 18 months or 2 years to go, well, it'll be better for you to pay off the largest payment to give you that extra cash flow boost, so then you can start throwing it towards the debt. So it's really one of those things of, when you start going down this path of, do I want to save or do I want to pay off debt? Obviously, I'm going to always encourage you from an investor standpoint, make sure you're getting a match at work. Anything past that, if you have debt that you're trying to get rid of the credit cards, get rid of the car loan. If you can get that part, you didn't really stabilize your financial situation, because just like last year you learned, if you only had student loans and a mortgage, you could pay your mortgage, your student loans was on pause because they insured by the federal government. But credit cards and car loans, they was giving you a little pause, but they were still around. So not having that and having a little cash in the bank puts you in an excellent position to start to go forward long term.
All right, and guys, when we're talking about paying off debt, just to make, from my real estate friends, we're talking about consumer debt.
Right.
Because consumer debt a lot of times is unnecessary. Only consumer debt I got is my mortgage. With that being said, like I was telling a friend, the quick story, I was telling a friend, she's about to get a lump sum of money with the sale of her house.
Oh wow.
And I want to say she's about to get like 60, 70,000. All she did was buy real estate and waited. So yeah, she about to get 60, 70,000, and I was telling her, I was like, man, just take care of all your consumer debt, man. I said, yo, life changes when you don't have no car note.
Right.
I said, when you don't have no car note.
No car note.
I said, yo, you could, like, just think about you. She works a job like you can stack all that money that you're paying out towards, you know, your car note. You know, for years before I bought this luxury car, I would ride around with a car I had the title to.
Yeah.
For years, like, and I didn't care, because regardless of if I made, you know, 6 figures, 5 figures, low 4 figures in a month, I ain't gotta worry about the repo man.
Yeah.
I ain't gotta worry about the repo man coming to, coming to get my joint. You know, if I wanted to take a month off of work, you know, I could take probably 12 months or so off of work. I ain't gotta worry about the repo man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you make a great point, because I left the credit union probably last 2019 December.
Okay.
I didn't start back working in the workforce, so in that time we know what all happened come March. But from March to July, that's when I actually went and got another job. I was blessed to where I could do anything. That whole time I never touched my emergency fund, and the reason why was because, number one, to your point, no credit cards, no car loan. None of that stuff. Obviously, student loans was zero. And then the mortgage, I have a wife as well, so we continue our plan as normal. But I still have income from my side hustles and things like that. But my cost of living is very low. Like, I think, what am I running about? $1,100 that I have to spend to live. When you think about how hard is it to come up with $1,100 in the month in today's society, that's McDonald's, that's, you know what I mean, that's a real simple job. If you really had to get out there and do it, you could come up with $1,100 in 30 days. You know, so that's the thing of what we're speaking about when we talk about getting rid of that stuff. You're securing yourself from a job, and you're making things so that if you lose your job, you're not going to lose your car. The world's not going to go on fire. But then also, it changes the way you work, so that when somebody say, hey, or they're doing something you don't like at your job, the longer you can hold out, it was beneficial. The longer you can hold out and find the right job, the better the next job is going to be. And that's why you want your situation to be like that, so that you have the savings, but you don't need to get something quick, real quick, where you got to take this big pay cut. You can take the time and go get you something and level up in that hour of need.
You don't want to have to walk in the car dealership on your knees. You know what I mean? Right. You want to be able to stand erect and say, hey, look. And then when they show you the numbers, like in my case, they were showing me some stupid numbers. Oh, okay, well, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Yeah, I don't need that then. So, you know, you don't want to be desperate. When I say walking on your knees, you don't want to be desperate, because I've had friends, especially in my 20s, whereas I came down here in 08 and I drove my Taurus up, my 01 Taurus, and eventually I was hard on that Taurus. Man, that Ford Taurus was a good car, but I was real hard on it. So eventually it was giving me problems, and the engine, finally had some engine problems, and I started a new job, and I'm like, damn, I started a new job, I get to work and all this. And I walked into the dealership. Fortunately, I had a friend consult me, but I had a 700 plus score.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to get the TV promotion. So my car note, 1,800 down or 2,000 down, and my car note was like 190 a month. It was 190 a month. So I'm like, man, yeah, okay, so 190 a month, it ain't too bad. I don't want to pay it, ain't too bad. But I was able to do that because I had great credit, you know. So your whole financial picture, you know, you want to work towards getting it looking good, if that makes sense, you know. But personal debt, man, I strongly agree, man. Just start chipping away at it. And what words of advice, right, do you have for somebody who has $120,000 worth of student loans, and let's say they make 60, 70, like, and because I've noticed that some people just, you know, when it comes to student loans, they just gave up, like, man, I ain't
well, I would, and that would make you grow up, baby. that would make you. So I would, one thing that I would look at, like all the colleagues that I have or people that I've seen, and the fact is, the same. You can substitute student loans for mortgage. A lot of people can't even fathom paying off their mortgage or being mortgage free. What you're trying to do when you think about the student loan and you make it $60,000, $70,000 a year, you have to realize your $60,000, $70,000 a year job is not going to get you to $100,000 off in the next couple of years. You're not going to survive by suppressing your life so much that you're trying to pay this debt off. Because at the end of the day, it's going to go. What I would say is, what you want to do is do the long-term play on the student loan for the $100K, just like you would your house. Start your investing. You're watching this guy. He's helping you flip property. You flip property, you buy wholesale, you sell. You do that 3-4 times, you'll pay off them student loans in a matter of seconds. Yeah. I actually know a young girl that I went to college with, and they had 220. If I remember, combined, and then they started buying and selling real estate and things of that nature. Took them a little bit, but it was a long-term play, but they didn't suppress their lifestyle. What they did was they got out and they hustled with the many avenues that we have to invest. Invest in the stock market, invest in maximizing your personal income skill set. You making 60 and 70 when you probably should be making 120. Just being honest. Maybe you need to move to a different city and get real, or maybe you need to get a job from a different city that allows you to work remote where you at, but you get paid more. Regardless of that, if you have 6 figures of student loans, that's where I say start going to the long-term play. Get you on an income-based thing so that you can control how much you're paying. Make sure you understand that when you're filling out for student loans, that any child that you support financially, even if they're not in your household, some people have kids by somebody and they switching, or you marry somebody and it's a stepchild scenario, that still counts. You need to list that down, and they will deduct and make your payment accordingly. One of the things that Biden is doing is he's taking the income base from 10% of what they decide is your discretionary down to 5%. So it's one of those things of, if you got $100K in student loans, first get on the income base, work on your income, but start making a long-term play, like a 5, 6, 7 year plan. And in that 5, 6, 7 year plan, start looking at, okay, what are other avenues that I can start generating income? Is it real estate? Is it building a business of my own? Something, because if you keep putting enough things that are generating cash flow, you walk down 5, 6 years, you can write a check and be done with it. Or if you're on an income base, typically, maybe it takes you 20 years, well, then they'll just dissolve the whole thing and you'll move away. The people that are not getting their student loans paid off or that's having struggles with it is that 10-year income base. The people who are taking 50K and 40K job in these low income, they're taking the jobs of service. They're having trouble getting theirs dismissed. But people who did, again, the long-term play, 20, 25 year time, they paid, even if you were paying $300 a month on $100,000, you didn't pay $100,000 over that 25 years. I can tell you that now. But by paying that $300, your credit score is going to go up. It's going to allow you access to buying real estate because you have a fixed payment, and that takes the rule out for when lenders look. They're not taking 1% of the loan, they're taking your payment that you have, so you'll qualify. Then as you're buying and selling, then you start to evaluate. Okay, got $80,000, $90,000. Do I want to pay it, or do I want to pay 40 and just knock a big chunk down? You know what I mean? And then once you start getting into a manageable size, then you start thinking about, okay, do I want to refinance? But I would always encourage and advocate somebody, make the long-term play, invest your money, because if you're investing your money in the stock market, obviously I'm a little bit more fan of the stock market, but real estate, I guarantee you, if you can get you a couple of rental properties over a 5-6 year period of time, when real estate typically goes up in about 3, you'll get yourself there. It just won't happen in 2 years. But you'll do it in a more manageable lifestyle, because if you cut yourself down for 6-7 years, you didn't get to do anything. Now you're next to 40 and you haven't even started to begin your life. And honestly, you didn't spend $100,000. Like, don't get me wrong, the degree is worth it, but
not in all cases. Not in all cases.
Well, yeah. If you didn't maximize your degree, but if you spend $100,000 over 5 years and you didn't invest for your retirement and you didn't buy a home or anything, so you're gonna feel like, and it's gonna look like you didn't really do anything but get rid of $100,000, and you're 40. You didn't really do anything. But if you bought yourself a home, you've been investing steadily, and you're consistent, you've been raising your income, and you're paying off your debt, 5-6 years from now, you'll be like, okay, I got a couple properties. I could actually sell one of these properties and pay off my debt if I want to, or I could ride it out a little bit longer. But now you're in control, where it's not a question of if you can pay. Now the question is when. When do you want to pay? And that's going to probably be a tax question.
All right, so there you have it, man. He broke it all the way down. I hope that was enjoyable for you. Now look, if you paid off your student loans, comment below how you did it. Just make sure you comment below, just to encourage other people, because a lot of people are giving up on that debt, which I don't think you should give up. I get it, life is hard, but sometimes we just gotta go harder. So you can follow this guy. We put all his social media on the screen, and what I am going to do, put all my social media on the screen, and I'll see you guys in the next video.